All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the User Adoption Real Talk from the Expert series. This is a video series we are doing to talk about the key findings from UserIQ's 2018 User Adoption and Onboarding Benchmarking Report. We created this report in hopes of discovering how top SaaS companies are taking on user adoption and onboarding challenges today. So we do want to get Ellie Wu on here, who is probably a familiar face to all of you guys. She is definitely one of the experts when it comes to onboarding and user adoption. So we're going to ask her a couple of questions based on those key findings. So before we start, Ellie, if you just want to introduce yourself a little bit, and then we'll hop into the questions.
Sure, thanks, Kelsey. So everyone has their own path to customer success, and that's part of the interest as we get to know more folks in this space. And so my fascination with CS started with a background in engineering, went through sales, and then ended up in customer success. So it gave me this really unique perspective at these different intersections companies have with our customers. And so currently I am at SAP Concur as the Senior Director of Customer Success, leading our strategy and execution on the global services operations team. And that's been extremely fun. 2018's flown by. And recently I've wrapped up a series of speaking engagements and interviews and super excited to go to TED Women later this month. But 2019 is right around the corner. So everything will continue to center around that work that we do with our customers. How do we help them capture their most critical opportunities? And so if that's of interest to you and the audience, please feel free to check out my links on elliewu.com that will also be launching later this month.
Awesome, perfect. Isn't it crazy? It's almost 2019. I really can't imagine it. We just wrote our blog post about top customer success and customer experience events for 2019, and I still am like trying to wrap my brain around that.
Absolutely, and that's also part of the reason I think we have to be very intentional with the work that we do, because it feels like every quarter just goes by more quickly.
Yes, definitely agree, for sure. So kind of to start this off, one of the key findings that we had in this report was that 62% of the respondents are satisfied with their onboarding process, but they are kind of worried about how to provide that training at scale. And they do want kind of more self-guided type materials to assist customers faster. So that being said, what is maybe the first steps that companies should take when they're thinking about scaling their onboarding program?
Yes, so I love that it said 62% of the respondents were satisfied, but I would also be very curious about what their customers would think about it. So the first thing I would recommend organizations do is take an audit of what's working and what's not. That doesn't mean we have to send out another survey to all of our customers. If we have the data, go in and look at the self-service options that you currently have, which sites or which pieces are actually getting used. And if they're not, clean it up for folks so that way it's less stuff for them to dig through. Beyond that, I would also say to really take a step back and think about what's the goal that you're solving for? What's the problem you're solving for with the customers? And would they miss you if you weren't there? Because if the answer is that they don't notice when you're gone or when your product or service is no longer there, then you have to set more aggressive goals, because that's really what we're there to help them with. And measuring success, not just for yourself, but also with your customers, and making sure that this whole onboarding experiment or the programs that you're setting up, that you're not doing it in a silo. You're also engaging your other team members to help understand. Onboarding is an internal term that we use with our customers to figure out where they are. Our customers don't like to feel onboarded. So to work with sales or to work with product, our support team, services across the board to really understand how do we get our customers up and running so that they're self-sufficient, right? Getting them past that Bambi leg stage, that's what we really need to start thinking about.
Yes, definitely. Love that. It's a great point. I know a lot of companies kind of know that they need to provide training at scale, but they're not necessarily sure like when is the time to pull the trigger. So that being said, when do you think, or do you know when it is the right time to provide training at scale? How do you know when the right time is to do that?
Yeah. When you think about providing training at scale, I think about it in really two ways. Number one is, do you even know what you're scaling yet? Because if you don't, you probably shouldn't try to scale something that's still a question mark. Beyond that, providing training at scale is really also thinking about it from the customer's lens. So when our customers are picking up our product or service and they're trying to learn it, we're probably not the only thing on their plate. More often than not, you're competing with their other priorities at work, or even think about this time of year, you're competing with their Thanksgiving plans or the holidays, right?
Right.
So training at scale doesn't just mean for you internally of like, how do I handle all these customers? It's also about how does my customer be more efficient with getting to know us and how we can bring them value faster.
That's a great point. Have you seen any B2B companies that have done this pretty well?
I would say that there's a few. And when we think about B2B or B2C, it really is, there's two levels, right? We've got to get our admins up to speed so that way they can help advocate with the users. But ultimately, the users are the people who are often kind of that volume that will impact the scale or the onboarding or the success of our tools, right, with the different companies. So some of the companies I think that do this quite well, I had a really great experience with Lucidchart, just trying to get up to speed on all the different options. At Smartsheet, I think that there's also a lot of really great self-help options. They've got a good portal. I also helped build out some of the training that was available there. So a little, caveat that I may be biased on that, but it is a good tool, and there's just so much to learn. But more importantly, to think about that continuous learning journey that we have with our customers, because onboarding gives that impression that once you're done with this phase, then you're off and running. And as our products continue to evolve, as we're looking to grow with our customers, we need to make sure that we're bringing them along with us on that journey.
Yes, definitely. Well, this was all super great. This was a lot of great insight. I think there's a lot of great actionable tips we can take from this. So I will be providing some links in the description box to where you can find Ellie online. I'm sure if you have any more questions regarding onboarding, she would love to take those on. I will also in the description box be putting a link to download the full report. So again, thank you, Ellie. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Kelsey. Thanks for touching on this very important topic. It's the first thing customers take with us, so we want to make sure that we nail it.
Yes, of course. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.